After 6 years serving on the Law Enforcement Center Authority Board, its chair, Ron Wieck's reappointment failed a vote of the Sioux City City Council tonight. The authority is governed by an appointee from the County Board of Supervisors, an appointee from the City Council, and a citizen chosen by both the city and the county. Wieck was the appointee of both boards to a 6-year term in 2019. Tonight, the vote to reappoint Wieck to the board failed on a 2-2 decision. Mayor Bob Scott abstained from the vote. Matthew O'Kane and Dan Moore voted yes. Alex Waters and Julie Shaner voted no. Wieck will still serve the remainder of his term through December 31st of this year. But starting in January, the LEC Authority will operate as a 2-member board until a 3rd member is appointed. Dan Moore, who serves as the city's representative on the LEC Authority, said that a revote for Wieck isn't out of the question. It would come down to the decision of the new city council members once they're appointed in January. If a new representative needs to be appointed and an agreement can't be made between the two governing bodies, a candidate would then be appointed by the governor.